So, Rudy Giuliani's got his experts. He's got his witnesses, his people he's putting out there to basically prove that the election was a fraud and that voter fraud was running rampant, and basically got to throw all these votes out and declare Trump the winner, right? There's been very many questionable, to say the least, experts that Giuliani has had take the stand at these various, well, this one specifically was at a hearing by the Michigan House Oversight Committee. Very many questionable people that Giuliani has called, but none more interesting, I guess to say is a kind word to put it, than this lady. Let's listen to what she has to say and the situation that happens here.
The poll book is completely off. Completely off.
Off by 30,000?
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book. Why don't you look at the registered voters on there? How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero.
So, my question then is, if the
guess how many? Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, please.
So the poll book number. There's two things that could happen here. Either the poll book number, if ballots were counted multiple times, there's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes.
Pause it for a second.
I
just want to point out here. I said it at the beginning. It's like a little hint of what was to come, but I want to really stress out here. Her slurring, her speech is so bad that when she says poll book, it really does sound like she's saying pool book, doesn't it? I mean, when I first heard this clip, I was like, what is she talking about? I had to look up, and I was like, nothing's coming up she's saying poll. Jesus Christ.
I just assumed that it was some wonky electoral thing that I didn't know about.
You thought she was saying pool too, right?
Yeah. I'm like, Oh God, I really know nothing about this stuff. I don't know what a pool book is.
Right. Good. I mean, I only knew because I went back in the day, I would work the polls. But when I first heard her say it, I was like, pool book? Is that something that they do in Michigan, maybe? I don't know. But continue.
Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look again. Take a look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too?
So is that?
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, and then when he's done.
I thought that was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question here is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what I
saying
saw.
That they're filling in.
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Okay. Did you?
Okay,
I'm just trying to ask you a legitimate question here.
Yeah, let's let Representative Johnson ask his question, and then don't interrupt him. And then, if you want to respond to it, that's fine. And did you have more, Representative?
Yeah, I guess I just want to keep following back.
Can we get some
the
Jello
poll
shots?
Books. Are we saying that the poll book is either wildly off, or that they are filling in names?
It's wildly off, and dead people voted, and illegals voted. Okay. So that's my answer.
Oh man.
I mean, there's a moment there. I don't know if you caught it, but if you're watching on YouTube and not just listening to the podcast, there's a moment there where even Giuliani reaches over and says just you're making me look bad. You're making me look crazy, says Giuliani.
Rudy, who farted earlier in the proceedings.
I think. We have that too.
Do we want to play that?
Yeah, but I just want to plug an Alex Perrine article that kind of explains what's happened here, which is called Splinter, the long lucrative right-wing grift is blowing up in the world's face. This is from April 2017. But basically, the idea is they kept cultivating these lunatics to the point where they weren't in control of them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, look what's happening. Look what's happening today, where Newt Gingrich was on team Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell, and all of a sudden they're out there in Georgia saying, "Don't vote." Those are those two QAnon lawyers who are trying to help Giuliani overturn the election. Sidney, by the way, the Trump administration, Trump campaign, excuse me, put out a letter like a week ago saying, yeah, this woman who was standing next to Giuliani at the press conferences and talking with him and clearly representing us, she's never worked for us before. We have Newt Gingrich out there today saying how the two of them are crazy because they did an event in Georgia yesterday saying telling Republicans not to vote in the special Senate elections because you can't trust them. It's going to be rigged there too, which obviously the Republicans don't want their base to not go and vote in the two races that are going to decide the future of the Senate and, in essence, the future of this country. So you're seeing like an all-out internal war going on between the Republican establishment and the far-right fringe of which is, you call it fringe, but it's probably has encapsulated the entire Republican base at this point, to be quite honest with you.
Well, the QAnon energy in particular is interesting because it's less partisan than you might think it is. And it's less partisan than it started out as. They still love Trump, obviously. But like I was reading, I don't know if it's an article, a newsletter or whatnot that my producer Andy wrote about the QAnon phenomenon. And apparently it's spreading to like some left-wing wingnuts as well. There's some crossover with anti-vax people. There's some crossover with like the wellness community, like we talked about earlier. And they actually don't like this deep partisan polarization that's going on. They're like, both parties are horrible. They're full of satanic pedophiles, and Trump is the savior. So it's getting kind of interesting. I mean, probably it's not going to result in anything good for the left. Don't get me wrong. But it's evolving in some very weird ways, and I don't think we've seen the end of it yet. But I do appreciate that lady's drunk sorority girl energy. And if I didn't know what she was saying, I don't know, I might want to party with her.
I mean, this is what they're seeing right now in the Republican Party. It's basically this lady times their entire base, and this is what they've created a monster once again. They've done it again, like they seem to do every couple of every election cycle. They create a new monster, and this time it's not just a future presidential candidate, a single person. This time it's an entire new base that have basically just transformed every Republican, or at least 90% of them, give or take, into QAnon believing far right lunatics. I don't know how else to put it. Like, this lady believes that 100,000 dead people, undocumented immigrants, and just magical votes that appeared out of thin air just basically came into Michigan, and that's what decided the election. And she wants to see them all thrown out and Trump be declared the winner of the state. That's not what's happening in reality, but they are trying to manifest that in their own reality.
Yeah. I kind of have a sick urge to get her on our side now. I just want to hear someone talk about communism in that voice. We need to expropriate the bourgeoisie, all right? Just get together, proletariat.
Listen, Colonel Merckx had a great. Colonel Merckx had a. He said, I'm trying to think of what else she would say. That would be. She really does sound. She sounds like the Irma Gerd, like SNL drunk, like the thing they do on the Drunk Girl at a Party or whatever it's called. Cecily Strong's character.
Y'all just jealous of me.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Do we have Giuliani farting?
The answer.
Have a point of order.
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth.
Oh my God. Can we say that again?
Yeah, please.
The answer.
Have a point of order.
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth.
Listen,
wow.
I am completely sympathetic as someone who does streams normally of like, you move in your chair and like your chair makes like the squishing noise or whatever. But that was not that type of chair. He did not make any movement. The lady next to him clearly heard it and immediately did like a spit take and looked at him. Giuliani farted, and it was the most. It was quite honestly that's the type of fart you would want if you were like a Foley artist and you needed your character on screen for the movie you were doing the sound for.
That's why I was suspicious, because a reporter tweeted this out, and so it's real as far as we know. But it sounds like a sort of platonic ideal of a fart sound.
It's the most perfect sounding fart. It's like with those like the things you sit on, you place under someone's chair and they sit on it.
A whoopee cushion.
It sounds exactly like the perfect whoopee cushion type fart. It's just too perfect.
These people are disgusting. We know this.
I mean, it was a beautiful fart, which is not something you could normally say about anything Giuliani does, but it was
might be his only redeeming quality.
Yes.
Perfect farts, 10 out of 10. He's found his calling.
Right. Yes.
He's a sound effect artist. He makes sound effects with his butt. I wonder if he can do any others.
Right. Terrible noises coming out of this end. Nice, beautiful sounds coming out the other. Right. Let's
get that on the soundboard.
The Giuliani fart. Yes.
Yeah.
It really is baffling.
We'll play that sound when people start being annoying on the phone.